For over 50 years, people have come to see the Sharks play. Talent, skill, speed, intelligence, elite-level athleticism. That's not these guys. Biased, one-eyed, opinionated, more often wrong than right. They make up for their complete lack of talent with pure dribble, gibberish, and enthusiasm. This is the ET Stand Podcast. Do you believe in magic, Christopher Kelly? The Sharks win a captain's challenge. Not only do they win the match, but they also win a captain's challenge in a 28 points to 18 win over the Parramatta Eels up there at Magic Round. Welcome to the Brief, brought to you by Solve Accounting. I think we can say this one, Chris. Hit the music. We're back, baby, as the Sharks take on the Eels and get the chocolates. Welcome, Christopher Kelly. You're back from Las Vegas and WrestleMania, mate.
Under the weather. I've got some Vegas flu I've been struggling with the past week, but we'll get through it.
All right. Well, we'll get through this one together and have a little bit of fun doing that. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. I think we're live on Instagram as well. I don't know if that's worked. Maybe it hasn't. Who knows? And we're available on audio on delay on all of the good places. So let's get involved in the comments. Boys and girls, do we enjoy the Sharks match? We couldn't have Franco with us today because he's down the coast and his internet's not any good. But I have a feeling my internet's not that good either. New York seems to be a little bit slow. The match was a little bit jumpy. Chris, what did you make of the start of the Sharks dropping Oregon Kaufusi to the bench for this match and starting with Tommy Hazelton? What was your reaction to that?
There's more reaction to Atkinson getting dropped out of the team and Calhoun getting the start.
Oh, well, that was big too. Bench. Goodness.
And I thought, well, Boldo's going to be excited about this. We're going the four forwards. The only thing we missed on that was about Talakai, about 30 seconds gameplay before getting knocked out. So it didn't really work, but it seemed to work anyway.
That's right. I can't believe I actually ran with that. Actually, you are right. They finally dropped Atkinson. Why didn't I mention them dropping Atkinson first? I think it's just the sustained pressure from the ET Stand podcast and all of our commenters just saying, Fitzy, why, get him off. But then, yeah, what can you say? Then we get a player or two going injured. So what can you say? All right, should we get into what we call the Franco files, Chris? All right, let's do it. Okay, so the Franco files. 10 minutes into the match, Sharks... after two relieving penalties and some sustained pressure, but from pretty good Eels defense. The right-hand side attack followed by a two-pass switch to the entire field sees Kennedy almost break the line before a quick play of the ball allows Brails to get a quick lateral shift to Hines, who puts Kale Iro into a hole with a 3-on-2, a pretty regulation try. Parramatta had been defending well. Burns also could have been put through a hole. Really nice try, this one. Sharks 6-0. What'd you make of that one, Chris?
Set there, KL Iro going through that nice little hole and Hines finding the right option there. Burns, no interference and wandered straight over. So it looked really, really sharp in attack, that one.
Yep. All right. That's right. Then 16 minutes in after a penalty to Parramatta, I thought there was a key moment actually from Will Kennedy coming into the line to stop a try and then retreating back post-tackle to retrieve the grubber. I don't normally in the Franco files like to call out non-try moments, but that was absolutely critical. So then Parramatta had a whole bunch of sustained attack on us for a while, but it wasn't until the 33rd minute with a Talakai error. Now, it was called out in the the Discord channel, but that was actually a strip on Talakai. Was it not, Chris?
You know, the old pundits like to call it a loose carry, but I thought if we maybe tried to use our challenge in that situation when Talakai was down, it was a stop and play. The boys could have had a look or had a message. They had a bit of time to look at it. I thought it was a strip. Young Zach was screaming that it was a strip. I had messages saying it was a strip. So, yeah, maybe it was a chance of the challenge, but we moved on from it.
Well, we were kind of lucky because then they make a break with Alongi running through a disjointed defensive line post a Sharks attack, and we managed to get them with an ankle tap. And then Siffer comes in with an absolutely massive tackle on them. And actually, by staying down saves them from scoring because they had all the ascendancy and momentum and players up in the attack, and our guys were not even in the defensive line. They were going to score, but Talakai stays down. Pretty important one for us, really, wasn't it? Talakai staying down. He was on the field for 30 seconds.
Down, Rick, stay down, and he stayed down. So, unfortunately, he got knocked out, but yeah.
And then he was knocked out. Yeah, gone. How many can you check that? How many can someone put that in the comments? And we'll say good day to everyone in the comments in a second. Can someone put in the comments how many minutes Talakai actually lasted in the actual on the field?
He come on for the one hit up and then went down the other end to make the tackle, and that was it. That was his stint. So pretty important stint. The cheat code.
Yeah, right. All right. So then Parramatta on the attack for a little bit. We had the moment where Trindle takes out Moses off the ball, which leads to another set for the Eels. And then the commentators were jumping into it. Oh, Trindle versus Moses. This is a big fight and all this sort of stuff. What'd you make of that? I enjoyed it, but it was hardly World War II.
Before kickoff from last week into this game, they were waxing lyrical about Moses' kicking game. And I'm glad he can kick because that's all they could do at the start of the game was kick. They didn't chase through. They didn't score points. And it was, oh my God, good on you. You can kick. He's a massive difference to that team, but their attack's still disjointed.
He can kick, but he can also whinge, Moses. He is one of the whingiest players, isn't he?
A moment where there was a collision, we'll call it, and Moses wanted a little bit more, and obviously it wasn't. And there's some words exchanged. If your lip readers out there could have seen what Trindle was saying to him. So, I thought the sin bin was fair. Oh, no, we're not up to the sin bin yet, are we? So we're not even up to that bit.
Yeah, we're not up to the sin bin yet.
Yeah. It was, it seemed to be that Parramatta had a lot of flow against us. It was an interesting stat at the start of the game that we're actually the second best defensive team in the comp at the moment behind the Bulldogs. So we sustained a lot of pressure and held them out, but I just don't think Parramatta were throwing that much at us down that end.
No, but it was a lot of possession for them, which eventually led to the to them cracking the field. They opened the field to play with a shift to the right and then basically just came back the other way with the cheeky offload, then creating the overlap, looping the pass over to Addo-Carr. Kennedy can't save it. You could feel it coming. Interestingly, on the Discord channel, Addo-Carr was called out for grounding the ball and then getting up and going and grounding it again. And someone were like, well, he actually did just drown the ball, didn't he? So anyway, so then it's, 6-6. But then in the 38th minute, a couple of minutes later, the crucial third try after what can only be described as Nicho doing Nicho things. Powers straight through with an angle run, recognised that the Eels' defence is compromised with Dylan Brown rushing out up onto Nicho, creating the space on the inside. I always say sometimes you just want to give the ball to one of your top guys and just have them find a way to score. It was fun listening to Sean Johnson commentate on Britton Nicker and talking him up because we obviously know Sean Johnson was critical in the development of Britton Nicker. It's fun. Try that one. Sharks 12-6.
Again, like you said, it was just one of those ones where it's our favourite play, a little inside ball in the red zone there, and he dived over for a great try. I was speaking to our other co-host Lats in there and cheering that we picked all three try scorers to start the game. So good half-time celebrations for us.
Expect nothing less from you gambling fiends, but gamble responsibly. Then it was almost half-time and the commentators were calling for the trick play. And then Ronnie, they found the ball to Ronnie, and then it wasn't half-time when they blew the half-time. And I thought we should have gotten another tackle there. I thought that was a bit tough on the Sharkies. So
the Sharks point where it's the clock on Fox isn't right and the ref gets a call from the bunker. So it's hard to say which one's right. A
second or two. All right, so it goes into halftime. Sharks 12, Eels 6. Let's just take a second to say good day to everyone in the comments. Phil from Salford Counting, who is on holidays. I think he's on maternity, actually, or paternity leave, isn't it, at the moment? Phil, g'day, mate. Hope you're doing well. Sharks 2025 there in the comments. SJD with a K in completely legendary performance. I think that must be saying KL from SJD there. I thought KL Hero had a particularly good game. We'll talk to him, especially in the first half. Boy, his defense was really, really good.
Bring something better to our attack and also our defense where we don't have to worry about Ronnie jamming in because KL's there. So,
well, yeah, the Ronnie jamming in didn't come up at all, did it? Yeah, it just didn't come up at all. Like Francis Crosley from Southside Physio, one of our supporters. G'day, Francis. Good to see KL back from his hammy injury and play well. Yep, don't bring those people back from those hammy injuries 1 week too early, Francis. I always say Cecile, but I'm going to say Cecil, legend. How are you? Good to see you in the comments. Tricky versus Moses. Tricky with the comprehensive victory. G'day, Cess. Good to see you, legend. Then Shauno in the comments comes through saying, I know we were down to 12 men, but at 20-6, we should have put the sword to the Eels, but we let them back in. Yes, we won, but the current throat killer instinct that the top 10 teams have. Let's put that question on ice, Chris. We're going to come back to you, Shauno. Let's come back to that one. That's a good comment. And then 2.0 in the comments with an up, gritty win. All right, let's get into it. So it's Sharks 12, Eels 6 at halftime. In the 49th minute, after a penalty, the Sharks for inside of 10 against Charlie Guima, followed by a HRIO break that was a little fortunate for us. That looked an elbow, actually, from our guy. Kennedy sweeps around the back of a Nicho pass again. Kennedy's speed from the other side, very difficult to deal with. That kick for Stone Street that he put in, absolutely exquisite and pinpoint. A nice finish. Sony wasn't really in the match much until this point. Kick from the sideline would have put us up by 12, but is unsuccessful. We'll come back to Nicho Hines as kicking it from the side. But that, and yeah, because what happened was that the referee stopped him for a little bit. Did you see that, Chris?
A message about maybe it was a little bobble and they slowed it right down to the millisecond. And I was like, no, that's a try. Surely you're not going to call that one. And then the referee put his hands up. I was like, oh, no. And then he said, sorry, I made a mistake, and just let Nicho kick. So I thought Nicho was in the middle of his routine. And yeah,
he was.
He was, yeah. He was ready to go.
Yeah, no, he was.
Yeah.
No, he was. All right, so Sharks up 16 points to 6. Then in the 52nd minute, there's the Moses break, which leads to the 10-minute sin bin for Colquhoun with the tackle off the ball on Dylan Brown. I thought that was unnecessary. The Sharks were under pressure. What'd you make of the sin bin?
Sin bin, I thought, in hindsight, even though I was blowing up, the problem I had was the referee said you stopped a player who was possibly in a try-scoring position when Moses was looking for the Fox out wide and actually cross across Dylan Brown himself. So I thought it is what it is. He probably didn't need to do it, Calhoun, but, save a certain try, and we'll take the 10 minutes.
Yeah, so then the Sharks are under a fair bit of pressure, but they actually had a whole bunch of great scramble defense there. And there was a moment where Stone Street gets into the game to get to Addo-Carr, and 2.0 in the comments has just come through saying Stone Street is always in the game, Boldo. Well, he certainly was at this point. And then we get to the 56th minute, and boy, this was what you would call, I believe, Chris, a turning point.
Yeah, Boldo's favourite player is right in the thick of this. The captain himself.
Well, hold on. Well, so firstly, there's the 40-20 kick from Trindle, which was an absolute key turning point and moment, wasn't it?
40-10.
It was a 40-10. How good was that kick? And then that was, and he was very close on that other one too, wasn't he, Trindle, actually? Yeah. So, all right. So then some simple pressure leads to what you could almost call a crash play to Captain Cam. How good's Captain Cam? Was Kaufusi obstructing that? We might have gotten a little bit lucky on that one. Was that an obstruction, Chris? Did we get one through then?
The brains trust, apparently Ricky Stewart's in that, but Ricky Stewart, Wayne Bennett, Trent Robinson, and some of the referees sat down in the off-season and decided that the old players going in for the attacking player making the decision is no longer obstruction. So lucky for us, the Eels player made a decision to tackle Kaufusi. I could have seen how it could have easily been taken away. I probably wouldn't have complained too much because it was one of those little squeeze points. And I think Captain Cam looked a little bit surprised that he found himself over the try line, but massive turning point to go from a man down to a 40-20 into a try is huge.
Sharks up 22 points to the Eels 6. I always believed in you, Captain Cam. So then there's a penalty. So then pretty quickly after that, the penalty of the Eels against Brayley. And then the Eels with some simple play again take advantage of the extra man, just some extra man stuff with the player in the bin with an Addo-Carr try. down the left-hand side. There's not much that we could really do about that with the Sharks then. Still up 22 points to 12, but then rather annoyingly, the Eels then go coast to coast with back-to-back tries. An early shift off the kickoff, and then a power forward just get them going forward. Hopgood holds Brails off, who gets an offload to Barlow, who finds Moses. Boy, he's quick, Moses, when he gets going. Finds Dylan Brown. I thought that pass from Moses to Dylan Brown was forward. I caught myself actually looking at the clock before that. Oh, how many seconds until Colquhoun comes back on? And then the Eels score a try. It gets converted. The Sharks 22, Eels 18 with 16 minutes to go. I thought we did okay, only conceding effectively one try during that period of time. Chris, what did you make of the Sharks dealing with the sin bin?
We saw a comment there about being cutthroat, but we obviously looked a little. It gave me flashbacks to the Canberra Raiders. That was the 5th tackle on the 50-metre line. We probably should have wrapped the ball out. I thought it was something we really did poorly tonight. I thought Parramatta had a lot of offloads that they shouldn't have. I was doing the same. I looked up and it said Colquhoun 12 seconds. I thought, oh, well, Mo's going to put up one of his bombs and we'll move on from here and be back to full strength. The next thing, passes are going left, right and centre, and Addo Carr finds himself over again. I thought I wasn't too concerned. I was annoyed that the score had gotten that close, but knowing that our replacement was coming back on, I wasn't too concerned.
All right, so Sharks up 22 points to 18 with 16 minutes to go, but Jesse is back, and AFB and Tom are now back on the field. So I'm just sitting there thinking, you know what? We're going to win from here. I almost put it in Discord, but thought I'll get abused by all of you characters for saying we'll win from here. But I put it in my notes. It says it on my notes here. Jesse is back. AFB and Tom are on. We will win from here is what it says in my notes. So then we have the Trindle kick for Ronaldo, which is just an excellent kick. And we have one of the great moments in Sharks history. Captain Cam makes a challenge after a recommendation from Ronaldo Mulitalo to make the challenge. And we finally get a successful challenge. Chris, how excited are you about a successful challenge from the Sharks?
I know what Ronnie's like. He's very, let's say, Pinocchio about his touches of the ball. So he didn't look too confident. I thought, well, if he's touching, he's going to tell them, boys, don't waste the challenge. But I reckon Ronnie being Ronnie likes a challenge and was probably going to let our guys make one anyway, just in case it was a 50-50. But it was a great call. I know Trindle and Captain Cam were both there saying that Ronnie didn't touch it, so they had a great view of it. And when you're that confident, that's what it's for. It's for those blunders. When you're in the red zone, you're going to have an opportunity to get the ball back. So well done. It was like scoring a try. It was great.
It was a big moment. So then the Sharks retrieve the ball and go again. And so then, of course, well, let's go the kick again for Ronaldo Mulitalo with what can only be described as an absolutely sensational leap. Goodness me, it was a goodie. And then he loses the ball over the line by what must be only a centimetre or two. That you can't really blame him for losing the ball in that situation. But then they go back and look at it with the referee's benefit of the slow motion, and they work out that once Ronaldo catches the ball, the Eels winger starts tackling him. Now, that is actually what happened. He did start tackling him. Didn't he, Chris?
He found himself, and we saw your favourite player, Moses, having a whinge. Even though it had been upstairs, been reviewed for 5 minutes, Moses still wants to whinge about it, but you can't do anything about it by that stage. And he's taken over Gutho's role. But yeah, it's one of those things where I think it was just a reaction by the Parramatta player to hook an arm over and pull him down. It was very a reverse suplex there, and sort of Ronnie. I was obviously cheering because I needed Ronnie to score for some other purposes. And there was a bit of a complaint from the Magic Round commentators in our old friend Sean Johnson and Andrew Voss there, but I could see how it was going to be a penalty. But then it's a confusing one because he's actually in a try-scoring position and he's taken away the try due to the foul play act. So I don't know. So I think they just decided the penalty was fair enough. And
I get it in the comments. Was that a penalty try or not? So Shauno in the comments has come through saying it definitely shouldn't be a penalty try because his arm can't disappear. But if it's a penalty, how is it not a try? And it's a very good point, Shauno. So I'm not sure what position you're in, Shauno. Are you saying it should be a penalty try or not? If you can just clarify that in comments. And then he goes on to say, I'm glad it's not, but how do you rule it a penalty but not a penalty try? Well, that is true. Basically, Ronaldo Mulitalo doesn't score by a centimetre. So therefore, if it is a penalty, it has to be a penalty try. Like the margins are so fine in that try not being a try. How can it not be a penalty try?
But a player in the end, it looked worse because his arm was up there, but then he's actually grabbed Jersey and pulled him over the top of him. So, God, I wish it was a try, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it's a shame. All right, a couple of comments are coming through. Tuipune saying not even a penalty, let alone a try. Glenn Thompson saying no. Well, fair justice to you, Glenn Thompson. 12 from 121 says never a pen. All right, cool. Just no one's backing me up here. All right, and then Stuart Campbell comes through. Yes, Sean, it's a weird situation that, as per the rules, is a penalty and only occurs in try-scoring situations, which then technically is a penalty try or a sin bin. Yeah, that's right. It is a try. There we go, Stuart. I knew you were one of the smarter ones in the comments. Someone finally backing me up.
So it was one of those ones where it was just like, let's just give Sharks a penalty and move on, and that'll smooth it over. Like, it was weird.
Well, I actually think the decision there is it's a touch and go decision, and they're not sure if it should be a penalty to the Sharks. So therefore, they're like, oh, if they make it a penalty try, then that'll become the talking point. And that would have gone too far. And then Tomo in the comments saying, yes, would have been brilliant try if he got it, especially for Magic Round. That is true, Tomo. All right. So
I was cheering a penalty try, though. But
all right. So then a bit of back and forth. And then in the 72nd minute, a kick from Trindle leads to an error from young Eels fullback in the catch, feeling the pressure from Ronaldo again. So that sustained pressure. I thought that was quite good, and we don't do that enough. Just sustained pressure. Our Sharks run the ball in the last play after what was called a pretty average set from the commentators from the Sharks in attack, but I'm not sure if that's necessarily accurate. They stacked the right-hand side of the field with 8 players to the right-hand side of the post after what you'd call an AFB fourth tackle settler. Brayley plays it to Cam, to Hines, to Kennedy very quickly. You can see Kennedy actually looped around the back on that tackle to create that extra man. And you've got all sorts of players moving in this attack. You've got Big Tom and Britton Nickera moving in the back line. So you've got one of those angled Britton Nickera runs, which are obviously so dangerous. Finds Kennedy, who then cuts out Ramian to Stone Street, who just absolutely loves scoring tries. Best time to attack is the last tackle because of the passive wingers, as Sean Johnson said, which puts the Sharks up in pretty much what is an unassailable position to lose. What was that, 26-18 at that point? And I thought we pretty much won there. The 78th minute, they closed down on the last of the Parramatta Eels attack with an intercept to Ramian. And then in the 79th minute, they run it on the last. Nicho draws a penalty, takes the 2 on the siren because Chris, as we know, improving the for and against on the siren and taking the 2 points is absolutely critically important to the future of our ability to finish anywhere in the top 8, is it not?
For that, so yeah, let's go with that.
Sharks win 28 points to 18 in a 10-point win, which I thought was a lot of good fun. So that puts us up. I don't know. I actually haven't checked out the ladder post. Where's that going to put us on the ladder, Chris? As we go check that out. What is it? 5 wins, 4 losses on the live ladder in the NRL. The Roosters are up 4-0, Chris.
Do you know who scored? Anyone? Someone? Update somebody?
Someone in the... Don't know. Does anyone care about the Roosters match? There you go. Yeah, Sharks are up to 6, equal 5th with the Broncos.
Gone up to Magic Round, and young Cooper's gone up there with about 5 different Peter Hayes versions jerseys. So he actually got photos with all the Sharks players at the airport in a Sharks jersey. He's worn that today, but then he switched at halftime into his Tedesco jersey for the next game. So he's having a ball up there as a young fella up there enjoying his footy. So yeah, everyone cares about the Roosters.
All right, here we go. Here's Tim Kelly coming through in the comments. Don't the Sharks always lose when your brother Tim Kelly goes to the match, Chris? Is that what typically happens?
He's not there this week, so luckily.
Oh, that's why we won. All right, here we go. Stuart Campbell also just coming in with the commentary here. It happened to us last year against the Warriors in round 1, I think. Was a penalty in play on, same situation where player has to do something. I think that's right. I think that was probably the right decision. I don't think it was a penalty try, but it was a penalty. And yeah, Tim confirming that he's not there tonight.
The last 25 years, we've changed the rules that many times about players in the air and being tackled and not being tackled, and it's kind of hard to keep up with these days. But yeah, I think it was just a smooth over penalty. Could I just say that set play that you talked about 8 players out the back. That ball from Hines to Kennedy, who then scraped Ramian's nose out the Stone Street, was just unbelievable. It was sharp as. So, yeah, what a try.
All right, well, Stuart Campbell's in with a comment saying here, for your information, Nicho currently leading the try assists and line break assists. I thought Nicho had a underrated, secretly, silently good game. I thought he was on point tonight, but wasn't like the flashiest of Nicho displays, but a very competent, really strong 8.5 out of 10. Chris, do you have the same opinion?
A little bit higher and hard to split between him and Will Kennedy at the moment. I thought last week his game was unbelievable. If he kicks one of those field goals, we get a penalty, which the referees have now come out and admitted that, as usual in Golden Point, one of the teams was offside. Probably everyone's talking about Nicho again, but I think that comment about where he's in the line breaks and try assists should probably go up in bold and send around to Fox and Channel 9, and maybe everyone could lay off Nicho again. So, I thought his game was outstanding tonight.
Well, it's just easy clickbait stuff on the Nicho Hines stuff, isn't it? What do you make of his struggles, though, kicking the ball from the right-hand side?
For the referee, like we talked about, stops your momentum. They weren't bad kicks. Like, we've seen some worse ones from a lot of kickers. He wasn't missing by much, and I actually thought the last one that he missed, from my view, went through, but obviously it was waved away. That's my eyesight getting in the way. But, look, they weren't bad shots. It was just what it was. So, we know that's not his strong side. He likes his left-hand side. So, still good attempts. Still really good attempts. So, no question marks from me from Nicho. I thought his defence was really good as well. I thought his way he set it up in defence and covering a lot of tackles was good, except for that 50-metre try where he sort of got bowled over like everyone else did. But, real solid game. Like I said, I don't think I can split him or Will Kennedy tonight.
All right. Adelmo is sure in the comments, just wish he could start kicking those sideline conversions again. His confidence will improve even more. Yeah, that is definitely true. And it is 8-0 to the Roosters. Thanks, Tomo. Radley scored before he gets sent off. Fair enough. All right, let's go through some of my other points. So in commentary, it was Sean Johnson and Cooper Cronk as the flavour commentators. What was with Andrew Voss, wasn't it? I really enjoyed Sean Johnson and Cooper Cronk. Did you not enjoy them?
I got a comment from Ben McGrath saying he was actually enjoying Sean Johnson in commentary. I thought there was a little bit of riding from those guys in regards to Parramatta, a bit of the underdog feel against us. But I thought he was quite good. It's the first time I've heard him sort of go a full game, and I know he did it last week for the Warriors game. So, something new, better than Innes and maybe Roach yelling at us all the time. So, we'll go.
I don't mind Innes.
Yeah. Turn the volume down a little bit.
Yeah, I thought Cooper Cronk's definitely trying to be the next Sterlo with his style of commentary. I think he's quite good. And then Sean Johnson's knowledge of the Sharks is just so good. So, talking about Ronaldo Mulatalo and the Qantas Lounge being excited about the food and his development of Nicho. And he's even quite positive about Nicho and Trindle. And so he's, I like having Sean Johnson. I was really pleased with the commentary when I saw that was the group. I've just thrown it up there in the link. If you would like to join us on the show and have your say and let us know what you thought of the match, do feel free to come in and join the show. You just click on that link. You'll go into the little green room. I'll give you a couple of seconds warning. We've got 2.0, who's one of the regular dial-inners. He absolutely loves dialing in and having his say, 2.0, saying that he's going to wait for the presser and then he's going to come on and tell us about the presser. So other talking points I had in the match.
It's not a Franco show, so you might not have time Williams by the time the presser finishes. We might not.
Yeah, well, good. Well, goodness me. So can we get it in the comments, actually? Can we just say, should the debrief go for 2 hours or 1 hour? And should we go straight after full time? And can someone just give us the final answer to that? Because it is one of the only things that Franco and I argue is about whether it should start straight after full time or not. It's one of the great discussion points, is it not, Chris?
Making losses against the Tigers, like you want to vent for hours, like you're so angry. As Boldo and I have said for many years, a debrief doesn't happen when we win, but when we lose, God, a debrief happens. So,
absolutely. The debrief, that's true. The debrief was named or coined by Chris's wife, saying, "Oh, the Sharks lost. Chris is going to have to call Boldo so they can have the debrief for 2 hours while they drive home." That's right. That's what this show is. It is the debrief. All right. What else have we got to debrief? We have to debrief. I thought KL Iro in defence was particularly strong, especially in that first half. And whilst we've been lauding the performances of Marwin Hiroti, I thought KL Iro might have in many ways been the difference that got us over the line. Chris, what did you make of Iro?
Great defence, very strong. Shortens up our defensive line, takes some good hit-ups off our line as well. Takes a lot of pressure off Roddy, takes a few high balls, is good. The other one I want to give a shout out to is massive. I'm so happy that he's back, is big Jesse Calhoun. What a return to first grade, and I think he's here to stay for a little bit while Teague's out. He might even replace Billy Burns out on that edge.
I don't think he'll replace Billy Burns. I thought Billy Burns is also quite good as well, wasn't he?
I thought he had a solid game last week, but I thought the week before that it's a lot different to have Billy compared to Teague. Teague's hard to replace, and I think Calhoun's quite similar to that. So I like Calhoun playing on that edge there a little bit.
Even though he had one bad decision-making moment with the sin bin, which was a mistake.
Of the switch up of Kafusi coming off the bench instead of starting.
I just think they've just decided they wanted the size with AFB and Big Tom and maybe Kafusi in the middle. Maybe there's a bit of talk about Kafusi playing against his old club, and they thought, oh, let's not put too much pressure on him from that perspective of having to do that. I'd be interested to see if someone can give us go into the comments and tell us the number of minutes that Kafusi played versus Big Tom. I would imagine Kafusi actually might have ended up playing more minutes than Big Tom. Now, let's talk
from watching it.
Now, we copped, obviously, with Talakai getting injured and playing for the match for 1 minute. We essentially lost a middle player. But then you didn't really notice that we lost the middle player because we still had the three middle players. And I put it to you, if we have Talakai with Atkinson and we only have two other forwards on the bench, the Sharks might start running out of juice and look a little bit tired at the end. Chris, do you agree with that?
Spoken to my brother in pre-match in regards to the change of the lineup, and we've talked about. I don't know what Atkinson at this stage provides, because if we get injury in the halves, we've still got one really good half. We know we can swap around McGuinness, Brayley in those sort of situations. One can slide back. We know Talakai comes on and fills the back line. I got a little bit concerned when Kenny in the last 5 minutes had a little ankle twist there, but played on through it like he does. And I was like, well, I started doing the math. We can put Stone Street back there and things like that. So I think that was the better change-up. We've been asking for the 4 forward rotations because the way our team's built, it doesn't make sense to have a utility like Atkinson on the bench. So perfect game plan. I thought Kafusi looked a little bit lost coming off the bench, and I've talked about it. And we've spent it for last season and this season where he looks for an offload. If it's not on, he doesn't make it. But this week he made that mistake, and I'm sure he'll learn from that.
All right. Couple of comments here coming through. Glenn Thompson saying Kale is safe as we missed him lately. I think that's right, Tomo. And then 1-2-1. Well, 12 from 1-2-1 agrees with Franco and me at the same time by saying 2 hours, but straight after the game. Geez, 12 from 1. That is not helpful at all. But yeah, I agree. Straight after the game is right. And there's nothing wrong with talking about the Sharks for 2 hours if there's enough. If there's enough content. We absolutely love a Franco debrief, don't we? And then Tomo, let's talk about Billy Burns was excellent stats, 131 meters, 26 tackles, Kafusi 38 minutes, Tom 44. So yeah, not much difference between them really there, is it? Tom just bigger impact and good at the end. And then Billy Burns missed 8 tackles. I didn't notice that he missed that many tackles. Did you, Chris?
I'm not sold on him yet on that edge. I don't mind him as a utility coming off the bench, but as a starting second rower, it's a lot. It's a big hole to fill where Teague's normally there. So, if you wanted to throw Talakai out there, you could, and then you got Talakai, KL. It's not a bad swap, but yeah, I'm not too sold on the old Billy Burns yet.
All right. Well, I like Billy Burns, as you know. Looks like a beast. Looks like a beast. Now, I'm going to put this out there in the comments as a question, and let's see if anyone can work it out. We had a moment, or we had an outcome in a Sharks match that involved a player that has never happened that I can remember. So can you tell me what happened in this Sharks match involving a player that when they didn't do something that we normally expect them to, something that didn't happen? Let's see if you can get it in the comments and see if anyone can get it. So there was a player in this match who normally does stuff in Sharks matches who didn't do it today. Let's see. Do you know what I'm getting at, Chris?
Well, you alluded in the first couple of minutes, so yeah, I know what you're talking about.
All right, well, let's see if anyone can get it in the comments. Now, let's also, what other talking points did I have it out of the match? Mitchell Moses. Oh, God. I can't stand him. I think he might be my most disliked player now. Chris?
Like I said, he doesn't mind a whinge and doesn't mind a flop. And you can only imagine last season when Parramatta weren't going so great and they had Gutherson and Moses both yelling at the referee at the same time, even though decisions have already been reviewed upstairs and they're still complaining. It's done. Like, give the ball over. But you know what? Don't hand the ball over. We had the lead at that stage when he was having a whinge, and it was a reverse play to us.
Funny.
I'm like, hold the
that
ball,
was
mate.
Funny. It's like, don't hand the ball over. Keep whinging.
Keep whinging. The game stopped. We'll take a breath and we'll set up our set. Like, you just keep yelling.
Well, we scored after that, didn't we?
We did. That was a beautiful
dumbass
Kennedy out to Stone Street. So go for it, Mitch. Whinges.
Now here's my other beef. Bloody commentators. Oh, Moses has got to be the 5'8" with Cleary. No, he doesn't. You know who I think should be the 5'8" for New South Wales? It should clearly be Jerome Luai.
I don't care. Pick both of them. I don't care anymore.
Pick both of them.
Care, but I don't care.
Kevin coming through with the guest saying Ronnie won a challenge. No, Kevin, that did happen, but it wasn't. That is not what I'm talking about as the random moment in this match. All right, let's keep going through. Adelmo's guessing it was a Jesse doing something stupid. No, it wasn't that. I think we've seen that before, and it certainly wasn't whinging Mitch.
Can I just say in that comment on Ramian, I noticed that Stone Street scored both his tries with Ramian being cut out of the play.
That's true.
Oh,
yeah, it's Jesse Ramian, not Jesse Jesse Colhoun. Yeah, no, it's Jesse didn't do something stupid. It's not any of those. So
start with the ball, and he was in the first half. We had a shift. No, the start of the second half, we had a shift, and Stone Street was open. I went, has he seen how fast Stone Street really is when he's in the open? Like, just pass him the ball, give him a chance, give him a shot. But no, he just goes to the ground and can't.
All right, let's. Another comment came through in the Discord channel from an unknown character on the Discord channel who's making a lot of waves, a guy called Hugh. I'm not going to say his second name. I think we worked out who Hugh is. We're not 100% sure, but I have a feeling I know who it is. Saying that there were a lot more Parramatta fans in Brisbane than Sharks fans. Now, is that because the Sharks fans, well, we got to go to Las Vegas, Chris, so therefore we weren't traveling to Magic Round and don't care about Magic Round, or are there just more Para fans?
It was maybe a bit of Brisbane bias, because that's as what they're saying is Parramatta ran out to a bit of a cheer. Our home team, we ran out to boos, and especially
that's a bit harsh.
There was a couple of moments where there was some boos, but again, there was a strong Sharks contingent. I know there is a lot of Warriors, Parramatta, and Dragons ex-New South Wales Pats that move up to Queensland. As Bolden knows, Queensland's a bit nicer up there in Brisbane. A bit nicer weather. He loves a bit of a Queenslander.
Dude, I don't mind a Queenslander.
So, yeah, I don't think we were outnumbered. I think it was more of a fact that teams weren't liking us, or they were Brisbane-based and things like that. Yeah, we're not going to get a lot of people travelling from our fans, obviously, because of the Vegas jaunt. We're sick of travelling. We're probably like the players, like Nicho said pre-game, they're living out of a suitcase at the moment. But whether it was an old Parramatta Stadium recording at the end, but the up Cronulla was played, and that sounded pretty loud when we won the game. So what? I don't know. Maybe when the field in the Roosters fans got in there and laughing at Parramatta, who knows? It's one of those weird, beautiful. We'll call it magical. It's a magical round where all the teams turn up, all the fans turn up, and you could just get hated on. Like we've seen it before.
Maybe it's just all the fans just booing the Sharks because the Sharks are just the Sharks.
When the Wars were starting to, the Wars were coming up when it became the Wars thing, and that was two seasons ago, and everyone was cheering home the Wars against Penrith. So it seems to be the crowd just gets behind one certain team.
All right. Well, look, we've got our first caller. You can probably guess who it's going to be. So just giving him the 30-second warning that we're about to bring him in. He has just watched, I guess, the Craig Fitzgibbon press conference and will be able to give us an update on a couple of things, including hopefully the status of Will Kennedy's ankle. I'll just say here is a comment from Glenn Tomlinson saying it was a great name, that Hugh, in the Discord channel. And then Scott Breeny saying Jesse Sinbin was dumb and lazy. Even though he played well, I'd drop him for Peru to just drive some standards. All right, let's we're going to put the ice on that one, Scott, and I'm going to pose that question to Franco for Tuesday night's show. We'll discuss Peru, as Franco is the expert of those things, as we bring in 2.0. And I've just realized I haven't set up the cameras to do this, so I'm going to add in 2.0 and just see what happens here. We're going to switch to that view, but I'm going to edit it on the fly here. So, Chris, talk to 2.0 while I edit the look and feel of this thing, would you?
I'll get straight into it. Williams, welcome to the debrief. What did you think of the match?
Thank you, mate. Scrappy. We were tired. We looked tired in that first half. But our defence in the first half was crazy. It was so good. It was probably the best I've seen it all year. I was a bit worried about Moses because you know what Moses can do. But overall, the effort was there. Good bounce back win from Sunday. We get the 2 points, and I think we got an 8-day turnaround, 9-day turnaround until next week now.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I played Manly at Brookie.
Yeah, so. Sunday. And you know what's happening on Sunday, 2.0, for the Sharks?
What's that?
Football's coming home. Boldo live at a Sharks match for the first time since round one. Come on.
Well, oh, God, stay away, Boldo.
All right, 2.0, you watched the press conference. What were the key takeaways, buddy?
It started really funny because I caught the end of the Rosie and Mitch Moses press conference, and Laura Pitt asked for someone to be kicked out because obviously they're not a journalist. He said something to Jason Riles about getting a room with someone. That was crazy.
Well, I can confirm that Scott Latino is in Brisbane.
Oh, there we go. But no, all you heard at the end was, "Can you kick this guy out, please?" He must have been.
Imagine if it actually was Lats. I'd be so pleased if it was Lats. Oh no, it's not Lats because he's just joined the stage to confirm that it wasn't him. All right, now, right, let's just. Oh God, it wasn't Lats. Lats fresh out of the thing. Hold on, now I'm going to have to edit the view again to bloody get you on the screen. Hold on. All right, Lats, can you? Oh God, can you give us a response to that, please, Lats?
Mate, I actually missed what was being said. I was trying to get into the green room.
Oh, hold on. Now I've got to add another
I heard
item
that
here.
Apparently I'm in Brisbane.
Well, you are in Brisbane.
Journalist in the press conference, and Riles, he asked him to be kicked out. So we're alluding it was you.
No, I don't want to.
Now I'm trying to. All right, you guys just talk amongst yourselves. I'm now trying to add 2.0 back to there we go. All right, hold on. I'm just going to make it.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. Welcome, Lats. All right, anyway, 2.0, keep talking. Yeah, pleasure. So, 2.0, keep talking us through the
presser. Right.
Through this,
they asked about the bounce back effort. Where's Franco when you need him, hey? Asked about the bounce back effort, and he was happy with it. Not much training during the week. They only had about 30 minutes of training all week. Obviously, being on the short turnaround. So
yeah, was there any commentary on Will Kennedy?
Well, there was a little bit of Will Kennedy talk. It's down the list, mate. You'll have to wait for Will Kennedy.
Okay, keep going.
What they say about Will? All right, now you've just thrown me off. Asked about the Sinbin and how we've been coping with it. He said he's not happy with it. We've let in 3 tries in the last 2 weeks while the guy's been in the bin, so we got to rectify that. Obviously asked about Nicho, and Nicho, he goes, "Listen, I'm not sure what was said during the week, but we know what we've got with him. Looks like he's been building all year, and he got criticised for not icing it last week, but it came out really strong for us tonight, which I thought he was the man of the match, to be quite fair." Cam was asked about his first try of the season, and once again, just gave all the credit to Nicho. Said his impact on the team's not lost within the group. It might be lost on the outside of the group, but not within the group. And finally, they did ask about Kennedy, and Fitzy says he's playing the best footy of his career, and there's no doubt about that. But he's been great for us most times. Fitzy's words, not mine. But now he's just starting to express himself more. He's starting to find holes and take on the holes. And that cutout past the Stone Street tonight was a thing of beauty. Took the hair nose off, as Andrew Voss said, off Ramian's face. And Stone Street in the corner for what's becoming just a standard weekend double.
He was good when he needed to be, Stone Street, wasn't he?
He's always in the game, Boldo. Remember that.
All right. Well, can I ask you this one on the sin bins 2.0, and we'll get Latz's opinion on this one as well. And we've been talking about this a lot, whether it should be a power play or how the sin bin should work with the teams getting 1 or 2 tries. 2.0. How would you adjust the rules in the NRL to compensate for these sin bins? Because Sharks taking on 2 tries, this seems a bit tough, doesn't it?
Stop being soft. Like, these sin binnings at the moment is just a joke. Like, most of tonight, I think Jesse deserved to go to the bin. He was holding him back. As CK said, he wasn't looking for Dylan Brown, but there's always that chance of a flick pass. And if you're going to grab someone out the way in the act of the other team attacking in free space, it's always going to be a sin bin. But I said it last week, Fanua Pole, that little, I think Tommy's head just hit him in the shoulder. That's not a sin bin. You know, there's a couple of high shots tonight. I was like, oh, is that going to go to the bin? And I think one of the Eels players had his hand between the arm and anything, so he didn't even hit him. And they're giving penalties away for it. So, I mean, if Abdo's coming out and saying they've got nothing to look at, then I don't understand it, to be honest, because some of these sin bins, they're saying moderate contact. How do you define moderate contact? When the guy gets up, he lays down for a penalty, gets up, and then plays on for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's a good point. Lads, what's your response?
They're not enforcing HIA. So if you get hit in the head and you stay down and then carry on, you've got to go for a HIA. It'll stop people laying down.
Well, that's true. Lads, what's your take on the sin bins?
Yeah, mate, look, I thought tonight's one was fair. I thought professional foul's got to be 10. I don't mind your option if the player sits out, like the hockey style. I think that's a pretty good concept. And I don't even mind possibly a 5-minute sin binning for like things like the head high crackdown rule and that sort of thing. So it'll still make players be wary of the high shot, and but it's not as, I guess, effective. It's not as much of a punish to the team that's had the player sent off if it's a shorter amount of time.
Well, that's true. All right, Williams 2.0. Let's get you 3-2-1s, mate. Who are your standouts? Let's go with your one. Let's see if you can you do it backwards and go your one first?
Yeah, I can do that. The man formerly known as Kale as my 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
2, I'm giving it to Blake Brayley. I thought he was tremendous tonight, darting out of dummy half defensively again, just rock solid. And there's only one man of the match. If anyone else thinks Nicho's not man of the match, they're crazy. Everyone tells him to stand up. He had 3 try assists, 3 line break assists. He had, I think, at least 2 more try involvements, running into the line, getting smashed, which is what we want him to do. He's drawing in the line and letting Kennedy and Trindle play out the back. So for anyone that says he's not man of the match, I don't know what you're watching. I get we got the Kennedy steam train for the Dally M going on here, but Nicho's man of the match, and it's not close.
Well, Kennedy was pretty good, 2.0.
He was solid without being spectacular like he was last week. But Nicho's, you want him. Everyone's talking about stats and stats. He had 3 try assists. He had 3 line break assists. Without him tonight, we don't win.
Yeah, and I saw it up here in the comments with who was it? I think there's a comment higher up here calling out that Nicho is currently leading the try assist and line break assist there from Stuart Campbell. So you're not wrong, 2.0. He was pretty good. He was pretty good, Nicho.
I mean,
all right, mate. We'll let you go. Oh, your last comment, 2.0. What have you got for us?
No, if that was Mitch Moses tonight, 3 line break assists, 3 try assists, how much would the media suck up to him about New South Wales?
Well, that's definitely true. Maybe Nicho should be 5'8" for New South Wales. That'll make Chris happy.
No,
all right, 2.0.
Please. All right, mate.
It's good to see you, mate. Thanks for coming in and giving us that update. I'll try and get the screens working better next time. That was all my fault. But Franco wouldn't have been able to do that either. All right, 2.0. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, mate.
You too, mate. Have a good night.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, legend. All right, now let's get your 3-2-1s before we go any further. What were your takes?
Yeah, mate. Look, it's hard to knock Nicho he was awesome tonight. I thought there was a couple of little defensive slips, but his good work far outweighed that. I've actually brought Nicho in for 2 points, though. I've put Brayley in for 3. I thought Brayley had an excellent running game, setting everything up, darting out from dummy half there. And I was fighting over KL and Kennedy, but I've popped KL in for 1 point. Good return game, nice meat pie, and plenty of work out of our back end, and great work in defence too. Good efforts over the sideline, pushing players out and whatnot. And I thought
he was very good. He was very good. All right,
with plenty of honourable mentions, of course, as well.
Plenty of it was a good Sharks performance actually. So let's get anyone wants to get your 3, 2, 1s into the comments here. We will go and have a look at those. I'm going to reveal in a second the answer to that question because I want to do that while Lats is here. Shauno in the comments says, I agree with the power play like the NHL. The game we play now is too fast, and an attacking team can easily take a large lead in the right conditions and push 2 or more tries ahead, which is too much. Adelmo, I'll put myself in given I'm talking. Hold on. Adelmo is also come through in the comments saying Nicho outplayed the State of Origin halfback, but won't get any kudos from the media for it. That too. And then that kick that Will did for Sam was certainly top tier. All right. I'm going to reveal what happened in tonight's match that has not happened in a Sharks match before. And it was that Jack Williams did make a mistake. No mistakes from Jack Williams. No errors. Jack Williams is completely in the clear tonight. I can't believe you guys didn't see that was going to be the thing that it was going to be, Lats. No, was that obvious? Chris?
Mate, no, I didn't know what I haven't seen any part of the show so far yet. So
you haven't even been watching. Did you even watch the match, Lat?
Yeah, mate, I watched the match. I was just watching the first half of the second match because I'm one of 3 in the multi. So yeah, mate. So, and I actually forgot until I went into my messages to let CK know someone scored that I saw he'd sent me the link to the debrief. But yeah, mate. Look, was that Jack Williams who really took our fullback out?
Oh, do you want me to get that comment up, Chris?
What was that?
Yeah, mate. He did give away a penalty.
I thought he did. Did he give away a penalty? Did he? Oh God,
Jack is back.
Oh, classic Jack. Well, maybe he earned a penalty for us then this time, but he didn't at least drop the ball. Jack Williams, bloody classic, wasn't he? Oh goodness me! All right, well that's good to see. We'll let you get.
Ball though, was it? It wasn't him that got that short ball that spilled the lollies.
I don't think so. But look, don't ruin my material and make me and get in the way of a good joke, Chris.
I thought it was Ronnie. I thought it was Ronnie jamming in. You were going to bring up.
Ronnie
didn't jam in.
We also didn't see Ronnie jamming in. That's also true. We didn't see that today. So we didn't see Ronnie jamming in. We didn't see anything dumb from Ramian. We didn't see Atkinson, which was good. So maybe those are a few other good things that we didn't see. All right, Lats, anything else from you before we let you go back to watching the Roosters?
No, that's all, mate. One thing I just want to know, because I haven't seen what's happening in the show so far. What were your thoughts on the Will letting that initial kickoff bounce?
Oh God! I
knew you'd like that one.
That was not mentioned.
Oh, mate,
just catch the damn ball.
We're in trouble there.
Oh, can you imagine if Will Kennedy dropped another ball
out on the full? Surely.
Oh, Will. We were actually lucky with the way that bounced, actually, weren't we? That could have been absolutely classic Sharks bloody disaster. All right, well, we'll let you go. The great Scott Latino. We'll see you on Tuesday night with all the Sharks news. Are we going to talk about the physio thing on Tuesday night?
Yeah, why not? I'll pop that in there somehow. I might volunteer to do it. We'll see.
All right, fair enough. Well, the physio did split
Sorry.
All right, well, Scott, you heard it here first. Scott Latino is no longer a host of the ET Stand because he's taken an alternative honorarium role with the Sharks as the NRLW physio. Can you imagine? Imagine you strain your hamstring and then you've got Scott Latino coming to fix your hamstring. Goodness me.
Magic hands, mate. Magic hands.
Oh, goodness. Matty, you're not touching my hamstrings, I can tell you. All right, lads, get out of here. Enjoy the rest of the match. We'll see you on Tuesday night, mate.
See you, gents.
All right, see you, buddy. All right, we move Lats and we move back to this 2-person view. Yeah, Chris, God, that was just a mess, me moving the cameras around then, wasn't it?
For that, being popular, it's hard.
Well, that's true. All right, here we go. Let's go through some of the other comments here. A lot of people saying that, yeah, Jack William Otis won. Frank Guiman, our first comment of the night. Good to see you, Frank. He's impressed by Billy Burns, solid, and Jesse Colquhoun. I thought both of those were pretty solid. Frank, if you're just catching up on the show, we did touch on Billy Burns and Jesse Colquhoun and Puru in the Jets squad and who should be in there. We're going to pose that one to Franco and make that one of the questions. Then we've got Kevin Coyle in the comments saying BHU had a strong stint, which was good to see. We haven't talked about BHU yet. I was worried that he was injured when they mentioned, he's gone down. Chris, what did you make of BHU?
For BHU, he looked a little gassed there for a second, but then, agree that he took a couple of good, strong hit-ups. There was one where he was still pushing to try and score towards the end. So, again, it's our forward pack. It's where our strength is. We added AFB for a reason, and that's what we do. It's not too many mistakes besides the one silly offload. We've got such a good pack. It's great.
All right. Let's talk about this comment through from Scott Brahini. Kennedy came up ginger a few times, but he seemed to walk it off. Hope there's no injury because we ain't got no backup fullback. That's true. We don't have a backup fullback. I don't know. Did 2.0 mention that in the presser? Did Fitzgibbon give us a response on that, or did we hear on Will Kennedy's ankle? I wrote it in my notes in the first half. It came through in the Discord channel. Someone mentioned that Kennedy's ankle was strapped. So I hope it wasn't the same ankle that he injured a little bit later. And whilst it's hopefully not much, it's got to be something because it happened and they strapped his ankle. It's not nothing, is it, Chris?
Again, I think our schedule that the AI bot built in the off-season for us wasn't great. And we've had a lot of travel, a lot of short games, and Will's been outstanding all season. So wouldn't be surprised if a little banged up. It was just one of those ones where you felt a bit awkwardly. I thought we should have got a penalty out of being pulled offside. But the next play, when Moses kicked downfield, Kennedy picked it up and scooted across field and looked okay. The other one was when he got taken down early in the match in a bit of an awkward tackle and sort of came up a bit ginger. But so did a few other guys. I think a few other guys got banged. I saw Nicho had a bit of a stinger early on as well. So nothing, a bit of ice, a bit of rest. They got a long weekend ahead of them to rest up and don't play till silly Brookvale Sunday. So a while away yet.
Some other players we haven't.
Sorry, speaking of the AI schedule, we go and play a second team in a row coming off a bye. Like, seriously, it's insane.
Well, the 17 teams is a difficult schedule to manage. So, and they've got other things to manage, such as ground availability. So it's not as easy as you think. But playing Manly 4 weeks later.
Games, so.
Yeah, well, that's definitely true. G'day, Mike Knight. Bumblebee tuning to you as well, mate. You're in the comments there. Good to see you. A little bit late in, though, Mike. So maybe Mike's on the team if we should start the debrief half an hour after the match. Trindle tonight I thought was good on the kicking game too, wasn't he, Chris? We haven't chatted much about him. What was your... Does it matter that Trindle wasn't in it as much because Nicho had such a good game, didn't he?
We've talked about where they just complement each other. Like, Nicho doesn't need the long field kicks, whereas Trindle chimes in. I thought he was really good. The one where he tried to snap off a 40-20, came within about a metre, I think the referees gave him. But then the one where we're 12 men down on our own line, kicking it from inside the 40 to the 5 metre line was just
that's awesome.
Absolutely perfect. It was huge. So massive turning point, massive game changer. And I thought his kicking game was good. It was a big aerial attack towards Ronnie. I thought Ronnie had 3 or 4 opportunities. He could have caught the ball or scored himself. They just didn't come to fruition this week, but at least we were a threat. I don't think Parramatta really threw up much of a threat for us in defence to defend. It was good.
All right, let's everyone. I encourage you to get your 3-2-1s for the match into the comments so we can see where everyone fell. So then you can influence mine as I'll go last. Chris, who was your 3-2-1 and man of the match? And do you think you can do it 1, 2, 3 and go backwards, or not too hard?
We're going to do it. One for I'm going to call him Cal L now, like Superman. Cal L.
Yeah, he is Superman.
It is Superman. It's Cal L. Yeah, Cal-L, that's what it means. Shout out to him coming back in his return from his hammy. He didn't look like he missed a beat. 1 point for him. And then I can't split it. I'm going to go 2.5. Be politically sitting on the fence. Big voting day tomorrow, people. 2.5 points to Hines and 2.5 to Will Kennedy. Bubba. I couldn't split the two of them.
All right, fair enough. All right, we've got a few of the 3-2-1s coming through now. Tomo's going 3 for Hines, 2 for Browse, and 1 for McInnes. All right, fair enough. I'm not sure that's right, Tomo, but okay, 3. Okay, fair enough.
You can't say it's not right.
Well, I was just saying, I don't think that's what you think, Tomo. I think you think someone else was man of the match, so I think you're wrong. And then Shauno in the comment. Well, fair justice. All right, here we go. All right, now we've got a super chat, which means we've got to talk about that. So, Mike Knight has come through with a super chat. Oh, it's so fun when we get a super chat. Is Hines man of the match? He saved a lot of tries. So let's talk about this comment and just look at it from two perspectives. Is Hines man of the match? Well, it's hard to argue that he's not man of the match with the try assists and the different plays that he had, but he also just unleashed Kennedy too. So when you've got Will Kennedy playing so well, Nicho Hines' job is to unlock and unleash Kennedy. And so he also set up the Nicho try, or gets the commentaries for that. So in attack, you certainly can't put any blemishes on Nicho. But I think you're right there, Mike Knight. He did save a lot of tries. And Nicho's defense, and one thing that makes him so much stronger than Sean Johnson, who was on commentary, and the AFA previously heralded legend shark Matt Moylan, Nicho's defense is just so much better than our past halves. And so whilst his attack in comparison to them might be 9.5 out of 10 in comparison, his defense is just so much better. Chris, do you agree with Mike Knight here as just how many tries that Nicho saved?
He was unfortunately involved in that silly one, like I talked about, with the Paulo offload to Hopgood, to Moses and across, but we were a man short and pretty busted down there. But I thought that his defence, I spoke on it earlier, was quite solid. I also thought he took a few options to run himself when nothing was on. Instead of looking a bit silly and dancing around, he just thought, you know what, I'm going to take the line on. I know he tackled Adokar a few times to save a few ones. We sort of took him out of the equation as well. But again, Kennedy was there as well, saving a lot of tries himself. I thought the Stone Street Kennedy combination to stop Adokar in the corner was fantastic when we were man down as well. So, like I talked about, we're the second best defensive team in the competition, and I think Nicho's got a lot to do with that. So, Mike Knight, you might have got me, Will Kennedy 2.4, Nicho 2.6 for the points.
Goodness me. You might have convinced us there, Mike Knight. I've got to say, goodness, he was good. It's just so bloody tough on Nicho, the constant media scrutiny. And so anytime he does something good, he doesn't get heralded in the same way. And then if anything remotely bad happens, he just gets absolutely hammered, which is just so unfair. Like if you compare him to Moses tonight, if Nicho did the whinging that Moses does, he'd be absolutely hammered. But somehow Moses gets away with it. Why is Nicho just different?
It's funny, like you see the comments or even the media when he gets beat up on and talking about his paycheck and playing to the ability. Well, Cleary's supposed to be the best player and the highest paid player in the competition, but he's not because he's behind Callum Ponga, who's also useless this season, and Newcastle can't score a point. The Panthers and Cleary are last. The next player is David Fafita of the Titans, who got dropped the reserve grade this week. So I don't know where all this criticism comes from when I think his game's solid enough that is it kind of like the quarterback situation where we expect too much out of our halfbacks? Like we expect a 9 and 8.5 to 9 out of 10 each game out of 7s.
Well, the halfback for any team, but certainly the Sharks, does need to be held to a different level of standards versus the rest of the team. So you need to expect a level of maturity, professionalism, an approach to the matches, approach to preparation. You saw, when the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl and the Philadelphia Eagles go on the Jimmy Kimmel show or whatever it is, what do you see? You see that Jalen Hurts is not sculling a beer. And so that's what you expect from them. And we do get that professionalism from Nicho. He's an absolutely tremendous and brilliant ambassador for the Sharks. And I'll put this question to you, Chris. If you were the CEO of the Perth Bears and you could steal one player from every team, pretty sure you'd be pretty tempted to steal Nicho Hines from the Sharks. He's such a good ambassador and such an absolute key member of the NRL community, isn't he?
He's the face of the league. He's one of those guys you can sell. Like you talk about sex sells. He does. Like, you know, you then draw in the women sort of coming into the game who want to go for the Bears and at Perth. He's got a lot of draw to him. But yeah, I just think a game like tonight where he was outstanding, there's no fanfare about him whatsoever. You're just not going to hear about it. Like
all you hear is he missed the bloody kicks.
Yeah, that's all you hear. And like I said, they keep talking about Moses. No one else in the Parramatta was being spoken about in that team except for Moses and his kicking game. But like I said, the kicks to the corner, we diffused, and not one Parramatta player was attacking that ball. Kennedy was not under pressure at any stage in that game. Not one point was he put under pressure, and it's supposed to be this great kicker kicking us down the corner, but it resulted in nothing except for putting us in the corner. Like, it's just...
Moses has got a good long kicking game, but Trindle's 40-20 was the kick of the match. But the kicks also at Ronaldo Mulatalo were also just so pinpoint and so good. Well, you could argue maybe the Kennedy kick was the kick of the match. Get that in the comments. Which kick was better, the Trindle 40-20 or the Kennedy kick? That's all. But yeah, all right. Well, look, I think that rounds out our look. I just want to say on the super chats, guys. Running the ET stand does cost us some bucks. We've got to run a StreamYard channel and all that sort of stuff. So any money we ever get always goes back to paying for stuff for us to do stuff. At the moment, I do want to help Chris Kelly buy a new damn microphone. So that is, I was almost going to put up a thing that just says, buy Chris a microphone. Oh, you got some, yeah, right. Buy Chris a microphone. So anything that does come through and the supporters and sponsors, it does help us do a whole bunch of stuff. It worked out that I found a video editor overseas who's going to help us with some stuff that's going to cost me a little bit of money, but I'm going to do that. So anything that ever gets donated to us is certainly super helpful. And Mike, you're an absolute legend, and you are right to have made us talk about Nicho for a little bit longer because he did have an absolute terrific match and does deserve those plaudits. So let's just go through and also look at some other Nicho Hines comments here. Adelmo saying, yeah, Nicho much maligned. Frank Kuhmans, thanks. Good, honest chat on Nicho. Fair call, lads. And then Sean says, the worst part is that Hines was one of the first to open up about mental health and is now getting crucified for being in the wrong headspace and not in the game. Yeah, that's such a good take, Shauno, isn't it? Yeah, he really
also carries the heavy. He also carries the heavy weight of being an Indigenous player as well. So involved in the game. So he carries a lot of bags in this NRL thing. And like I said, I think he's judged on winning a Daily M so quickly as well. But we've got to remember, and I've spoken about before, he's still a manufactured 7. He's not a natural 7. He was a centre and a fullback and sometimes a winger, and he's just been manufactured into a 7. So yeah, it's early on in his career.
Look, Shona, this is the one that also comes up about Nicho. Is this, Nicho's down on confidence. And let's just put it out there. Nicho Hines is an elite level NRL player. He's one of the top 10 players in the NRL. He's probably at worst the 6th or 5th best NRL halfback. And to be a halfback in a rugby league team, you have to just be naturally confident anyway because you're throwing intercepts and you're putting everything on the line all the time. So he's got to be pretty confident dude. And you see the way that he presents himself. I don't think he's really getting in his head too much. I just don't buy into that Nicho's down on confidence. The only problems that Nicho faces is that he's a 9.5 out of 10, and to win, you've got to be a 10, is what I think is my take on Nicho. So we absolutely love you, Nicho, on this show. We will always, pretty tough to get us bashing Nicho, actually, isn't it? Poor old. Imagine if you were not supported by this show and you were someone like, I don't know, Captain Cam, who gets hammered by me a little bit. We love you too, Cam. All right, let's go through some of these other comments. I criticized Glenn Thompson's 3-2-1, and he's just responded and said, thanks, Boldo. Sorry, Tomo, I just don't think you were right there. I'm not sure how you got McInnes in there, but never mind. Shauno's saying 3 to Hines, 2 to Kennedy, 1 to Iro. It's going to be pretty close on the spot. Then we asked the question, whether it was the 40-20 or the Will Kennedy kick. And Mike Knight has come through saying that's like which kid is your favourite. But the Kevin on Facebook saying the 40-20 takes it. Maybe
out was better than the Kennedy kick. The Kennedy cut out across Ramian's face was.
Yeah, but we're talking about the kicks. We're putting the kicks head to head, Chris.
What I'm saying is I think that's why the 40-20 is better, because I think his offload was better than his.
No, the kick was good. It was just so pinpoint. Like, if it's a little bit further one way, it's not a try. And if it's, that was good. Come on, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? All right, now SJ
gets a try.
All right, now SJD in the comments saying that Jack Williams didn't drop it. Yes, that's right. So Jack Williams didn't drop it. If you're late into the show, SJD, or should I just say SD? Because as per the KL Eero sayings. All right. Are there any other comments here? No, I think that's right. All right, I'm going to give you my 3, 2, 1s. I'm going to say, Shauno, you are right. I thought KL Eero was really good, especially in the first half. I thought he shored up the defense. And so what's absolutely critical in the NRL matches is your center defense is so important, because finding space on the edges is often where the teams cut through, and having KL Eero just gave us so much more confidence. And we didn't see the Ronnie Muldatalo jam-ins or defensive areas that we've seen. And that was a big part of that was KL Eero. So I want to say congratulations to you, Superman. I think that nickname might stick. Well, actually, no, he's not Superman. He's is KL Superman or Superman's dad?
No, it's Superman.
It's Superman.
Kal-El, yeah.
Kal-El. Now, Franco is a... Hold on, which one's Superman? Is that Marvel or DC? It's DC. So anyway, Franco was...
I got a Nicho Hines jumper on.
All right. Well, Franco was all about... I made the comment to Franco. I said, oh, yeah, bloody, how good is it? This Superman reference. You can talk about that. And he's like, oh, it's Superman. I'm like... Oh, God, of course you do. I don't know the difference between bloody Marvel and DC, so maybe Franco can explain that. I'll do a super chat, actually. You know what I might do? Because I know Franco won't watch the debrief unless he's on it. So I'm going to give Franco a super chat and make him talk about which one he likes better. But anyway, back to the 3, 2, 1. Sean, you're right. Eero for 1 point. Kennedy for 2, only marginally being touched out because Mike Knight did the super chat and made me talk about why Hines was man of the match, and I convinced myself. So I thought Kennedy had an absolute terrific match and should have been in the points for the Daily M's, hopefully, and pushing his way. There were some absolutely brilliant moments there of just evading players on catches, and that kick and also that pass were just absolutely brilliant. I just thought he was looking so dynamic, and he's so important to our team right now. So hopefully that ankle injury. And look, Nicho Hines, yeah, if you can just get over this low confidence stuff, Nicho, and just be the player.
His body language. He's not out there being a brashy blue-eye. He's not out there being a whinging Moses. That's just him. That's just Nicho. He's a very good player.
He's brilliant. Absolutely. No, he was absolutely brilliant tonight. And here is a brilliant comment here from Tomo, who's clearly gone away and researched this on why Cam McInnes should have gotten the 1 point.
I wanted Tomo's response to Boldo's 3-2-1. So I love this. This is great.
So Tomo has come through and said, top tackler and just formidable in defence. This is in reference to Cam McInnes. And a try, fast play the balls all night, solid point, solid post contacts, and son of Cam's runs were monumental in broken open para. Fair justice, justified Boldo for 1 point. Come on. And then Tomo backs it up with don't underestimate defence. It can win you games. And then Tomo says, no, I knew that before the points. Fair enough. All right, Tomo.
It doesn't matter if Cam scores a try. Boldo doesn't get up and high five.
That's true. Oh, no, I'll high five. And then Shauno says he chose to challenge at the right time as well. Such a big moment. Maybe he should have gotten the 3 points just for that.
Good challenge, good play the balls, scored a try, top tackler, unbelievable. 80 minutes. That's
definitely true. Good work, Tomo. All over it, giving me a hard time. All right, guys. Well, I think we'll sign off on that. And we just say, what do we got coming up on the ET stand? I'm trying to get Francis to do a special video just with me on the injuries at the moment to get a handle on the Liam Ice and Cade Dykes and what those guys have got going on, when we might expect Toby Rudolph coming back. And some of those other ones. So we'll definitely do that. I'm traveling back to Australia this week. Yeah, Chris?
Teague Wilton now is in that injury list for a couple of
weeks. Teague Wilton as well. So there's a few.
Can you also ask his opinion on the volunteer basis?
Oh, we're done. We'll ask him for the volunteer. We'll give him that. We'll ask him on the volunteer stuff as well. So I'll try and get that video out before Sunday's match. If anyone is at the Brookvale game on Sunday, keep an eye out for me. I'll be around the traps. But on Tuesday night, it will be Franco in the chair hosting the ET Stand podcast, which is always very well celebrated. So you can expect a 4.5 hour stream on Tuesday night going all the way through till Wednesday, because Franco will do that. Last question, Christopher Kelly, as we do, as per the Franco tradition. What did you rate the match out of 10?
I give that for us, a good 7.5 to 8. I thought we did quite well. I thought it was scrappy in points, but we absorbed the pressure quite well. And then when we wanted to flex our muscle, we did. We could have ran away with it, but we did at the end as well. So, yeah, I'll give it a 7.5.
7.5. I give it an 8.5. I thoroughly enjoyed that match. I thought it was good back and forth. I thought if you're a neutral watching that game, there was a moment where Parramatta got back into it and you thought, oh, what's going to happen here? And then the best team on the night won, which was the Cronulla Sharks. All right, that was the ET Stand debrief post full time. If you are listening on delay, please do get your 3-2-1s into the comments. Do let us know what you think of Nicho. Do let us know which kick you preferred. Do let us know whether I'm wrong about Cam and anything else that I might have mentioned. We will see you guys on Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. with legendary host Stephen Franklin for the live show on Tuesday night. We'll be live after full time. Manly next week for another debrief. The Sharks go up to equal fifth. First winners of Magic Round. Up Cronulla. See you guys next time.
For over 50 years, people have come to see the Sharks play. Talent, skill, speed, intelligence, elite-level athleticism. That's not these guys. Biased, one-eyed, opinionated, more often wrong than right. They make up for their complete lack of talent with pure dribble, gibberish, and enthusiasm. This is the ET Stand Podcast.